This fangan is a sequel to Danganronpa Desperate Heart. We recommend you watch that series first. We are not affiliated to any Danganronpa companies or names. This is rated A16. Viewer discretion is advised. Squeak.
You give me no choice. It's time I come clean and explain my plan in grotesque detail.
You're just gonna tell us?
Is that not what you want? The night before, I unbolted all of the betrayal room hatches to ensure my plan would go smoothly. I also broke into Nezumi's bedroom, and while they slept soundly, I stole their mouse suit. Then, I found Matilda in the canteen. She was fast asleep by her poor kitty's grave. I simply smacked her around the head with a blunt object, and she was dead. I dragged her body out, took her clothes off, and used a knife to remove her scalp, before stuffing the body inside the suit and leaving it hidden in the yellow betrayal room. I wrote that note and attached a picture of myself in order to get Rentomu to channel me. The next morning, the game began, and I immediately took off my clothes and put on Matilda's, and glued her scalp to my head. I left through the hatch and headed to the canteen, where I used my personal Magatama to channel her. As soon as I said the chant, I threw the Magatama at the trash bag I placed there, and it shattered. Matilda entered my body and woke up, believing herself to have just woken from a sleep. Then, Rentomu did just as I planned and channeled me, to which I awoke in the betrayal room. I took off his clothes and returned to my own room, where I put my own clothes back on and voted, exiting the room again as though nothing had happened. And that's the truth of the case. We found the killer. Hooray! Anthea made us, the ultimate mythologist.
What a complicated method. My head is spinning.
That's really how it happened.
Are we done here? Are you ready to vote? Without that Magatama, it's not like you can bring Rentomu back anyway.
We'll just burn you out again.
Alas, I was briefly panicked upon realizing he had informed Matilda of that method. But look where that got you the first time.
Why, Anthea? Why did you kill Matilda?
Because she was the perfect victim. When it came to picking a subject, there was no other option. In fact, I conditioned Matilda into being the perfect victim. All I had to do was take one other life. And then Matilda spiraled, falling into place as someone I could kill without repercussions. She felt like her talent meant nothing to her, so surely neither did her life.
All I had to do was take one other life.
Hold it! You mean you're the one that...
Poisoned email? Yes. Just a couple pellets of rat poison in his meals, and eventually, and peacefully, she fades away. It was rather brilliant.
You're a monster! How could you do that to a kitten?
It all went to plan, and it still is.
But why kill someone in the first place? Was it just to escape?
No. My motives are more complex than that. My end goal was Rentomu.
Rentomu? What about him?
I'm inside him right now. I'm inside his body. He's all mine.
So it was all because you were down bad for him, huh?
Oh, good heavens, no. Rentomu? Gross! Not my type.
What? He isn't.
I don't want Rentomu for him. I want Rentomu for... my father. My mother was Rentomu's channeling teacher. She taught him everything he knew about channeling. I've known him for years. And so did he. As a child, I was naturally raised as a spirit medium. But, of course, I was not the star student. They say the first signs of a psychopath are killing animals at a young age. So, when I brought home this beautiful hairdo made of snakes I had killed, my mother was distraught. She hated me for many years, before eventually giving up and shunning me from the household. My father died shortly after I was born. He was also a medium, and my mother used Rentomu to see him again. Once a week, he would channel him for her, as payment for the teachings. But eventually Rentomu left, and my mother was left without someone to channel my father. Channeling another medium is incredibly difficult, you see.
So, what's your end goal?
If I could get Rentomu to channel me, then, as long as I wasn't exorcised, I could escape this killing game and bring him to my mother. So she would love me once again.
Oh.
See? My motivations are meaningful. But it seems I've been caught.
I still don't get why he channeled you in the first place. You just gave him a picture of yourself.
Oh, this was the picture I used.
Oh, that's Nezumi Park.
That's me under the mask. They sell those things everywhere, but to Rentomu he believed it to be Nezumi with, of course, his mentor.
So he believed he was channeling Nezumi for answers on why they were with your mother.
Tell me, all of you, what do you intend to do next? I've already admitted everything, so this trial should end now, right? We should all vote?
So, no mystery phantom? What a bummer. Anthea probably would have gotten naked at the end of it.
I know what we're gonna do next. We're gonna get Rentomu back.
Or you'd end up killing him. What a predicament. You can't execute me because I'm already dead. And you don't want to risk killing Rentomu, right?
Lottie, what do we do?
There's only one thing we can do. We need Rentomu's testimony here. I don't care if there's no execution. We need to at least try and get Rentomu back.
What?
I agree. I don't want to kill Rentomu. Of course not. But I sure as heck want to get rid of your ugly mug, Anthea.
Fucking Matilda! Why did Rentomu tell you about the burning? If he hadn't, this would have been foolproof. You're really going to risk it?
Even if you're not the killer, we need to get rid of you. You died in the fire because you were not as good at channeling as Rentomu. He will withstand it. I know he will.
Then let's get this show on the road! How about instead of an execution, we have ourselves an eviction? In fact, let's not use that incinerator. Let's use one of my punishment contraptions.
You can't be serious. Rentomu, why would you tell her? I would have finally been able to do something right for my mother. I would have finally gained her approval. This is all because of you, Rentomu. It's all your fault, Rentomu. Why can't you just die already?
No! Snappy, how could you? The amount of warnings I gave that fucker, they had it coming. There's one less of you to interfere with this game.
What happened? To think she would go to all those lengths for that woman.
You two really did know each other, huh?
Before now, I hadn't seen her since she was very young. Having her here brought up too many bad memories.
Bad memories? What kind?
I don't enjoy talking about it. It was the reason I left my master in the first place.
If you don't want to discuss a triggering topic, then that's perfectly valid. We're just glad you're okay.
As Anthea already told you, in return for the teaching, Miss Metis would have me channel her late husband once a week. All was well. I was happy to reconnect the two, until she began talk of trying for another child since her first one was such a disappointment. And so, one week I channeled her husband as normal. And for a couple hours, I was out of my body. I was no longer in control. And...
Oh.
Next thing I knew, Mrs. Metis was pregnant. She bore the child created using my body without my presence within it.
That's awful. I'm so sorry.
Couldn't you go to the police?
Afraid not. Since I wasn't in control, the intercourse was entirely consensual between Mrs. Metis and her husband. Nothing truly illegal happened, and it's something that stuck with me ever since. a stain on my life that I can in no way remove. And without Matilda, Anthea would have brought me right back to the woman who caused me so much grief. I give only my thanks and condolences to her.
Matilda is the true hero of this case, and Anthea is truly an evil person.
I never imagined spirit channeling would lead to such a terrible event. Would you ever consider giving up channeling, Rentomu?
No. Doing that would be to let them both win. Anthea is a despicable woman, born to a despicable mother. But neglecting everything I've devoted my life to this far would be to admit my past troubles got the better of me. Spirit channeling has allowed me to help so many people, from guiding families toward a brighter future, to celebrating vast cultural traditions, to solving murder cases. I can never forget or rid myself of the sense of dirtiness I felt about my body, but I can make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else.
What about Anthea, though? Do you think she'll ever be channeled again?
Unfortunately, the child I was forced to help bear will grow up as a medium too. It's only a matter of years before they get curious about their estranged sister and channel her themselves. As for what happens then, that is none of my concern.
Charlotte, I think it's time we end this.
I agree. Let's vote.
Hold your horses.
What do you want?
Just wanted to clarify you knew what case you were voting for.
What case?
Well, yeah, if we were voting on Vivian's killer, we'd be voting for bombing, right?
Get to the point!
Let's think this through. The rules of the killing game are that once a body is discovered, a trial takes place to determine the culprit, and then they are killed. Now, remember last case? Yuki moited Tomochi, but Sanjiro moited himself before we found Yuki and executed her. Had Sanjiro been the only moiter, we'd be voting him as his only killer. But since it took place within another moiter, it's irrelevant.
Natalie is right. Get to the point. No murder took place within this case.
You're exactly right. No moiter took place within the Matilda case. Matilda was killed, and then Anthea was killed. The case is closed once the culprit is dead.
No.
You found me. But in reality, this trial is far, far from over. I don't think you're ready to face the truth, children.
Once a case is closed, as soon as another moiter happens, that becomes the current case. Anthea, the culprit of Matilda's case, is dead. She's dead because of a moiter.
Take your last breath! Don't try and pull this on us last minute, robot! That's not fair! Matilda is the victim. Anthea is the killer. That's all there is to this. She's who we vote for.
The case is closed only when the culprit is killed. Usually through execution, but Anthea was moited.
So, that means nothing! That's irrelevant right now. She was killed by us, but she was going to die anyway.
You're cold-blooded, Charlotte. Once a culprit dies, a new case can be opened. And hey, a moiter took place. There's a brand new killer in town.
But that means...
The killer of the case we're actually voting for is...
So this was Anthea's plan all along. That's what she meant by this trial not being over. She played us all, and now I have to pay the price.